I'm Suzann Thompson. This is the story of how a Texas flower girl wrangled yarn and became an author. To sum it up, the love of flowers plus the love of crochet equals books. I grew up with flowers. No matter where we lived, my mom and dad always planted flower beds. This flower bed is outside our house in Plainview, Texas in the 1960s. That's a picture of me with my brother Eric. Our mother is from Germany, and she told us that sometimes when you smell a flower, it makes you say, ha, ha, hatsi. So some German children call flowers hatsies. Here's my youngest brother Van, sniffing the hatsies. We had flowers inside the house too. My mom embroidered flowers on pillows and tablecloths, and our china had some pretty flower designs, like this Zwiebelmuster or onion pattern. I studied the decorative objects in our house because I was very interested in how an artist could represent a flower with just a few cross stitches or a couple of brush strokes. In the late 1960s, we moved from Plainview back to Austin, which is where I was born. That's when I learned about the roadside flowers of Texas. These showy flowers are Texas bluebells. We learned the names of the wildflowers, like these mountain pinks. They like to grow in caliche soil, so unfortunately I can't grow any of these in my own yard. We also noticed that some years you'd have a profusion of one kind of flower, whereas the next 2 or 3 years you'd hardly see any of those flowers. In 2011, we had a terrible drought in Texas, and I saw these antelope horns, milkweeds, everywhere. This year we've had plenty of rain, and I haven't seen very many of them at all. They are a favorite food of monarch caterpillars. My mom taught me to knit when I was about 7 years old. Later, when I was in junior high, she helped me to crochet. At the time, granny squares were very popular, and I made over 100 of these granny square drawstring bags. I sold them for $4 a piece. Could the love of crochet be genetic? My grandmother Thompson crocheted this grape doily, and my German Oma crocheted this jumper for my mom when my mom was about 5 years old. It is made with many rounds of single crochet, embellished with embroidery. From the time I started crocheting, I wanted to know how the stitches were made and what they looked like, and how you could group stitches together to make certain effects in your crochet. I made it my business to figure out things like, how do you make an extravagant ruffle like the one in this picture? Along about the 1980s, I discovered Irish crochet lace. These intricate crocheted flowers were joined with other motifs to create garments and home decor items like tablecloths. The only way to achieve this kind of detail in a tiny little flower is to use very, very fine crochet thread. If you crocheted this flower in yarn, it would be enormous. I wanted to design crocheted flowers out of yarn, which meant I needed to pack as much design as I could into very few stitches. I envisioned my flowers being used for embellishment. My flower designs didn't always turn out right on the first try, or even on the 4th or 5th try. This is a pile of my flower rejects, or maybe I should really call them my rough drafts. After a lot of trial and error, I finally got a good-looking batch of crocheted flowers. My first collection of crocheted flowers was published in 2008 by Lark Crafts. Its title was Crochet Bouquet, Easy Designs for Dozens of Flowers. I enjoyed hearing from the readers of Crochet Bouquet. Sometimes a reader would have trouble with a pattern, and so I would post step-by-step tutorials on my blog to help them along. I hosted flower crochet-alongs online so readers could crochet a single flower as a group, That way they could share their flower triumphs and tribulations. Thank you, readers! Your enthusiasm for Crochet Bouquet made the next book possible. In May of 2012, Lark Crafts published Crochet Garden, Bunches of Flowers, Leaves, and Other Delights. This book has all new original flowers in 4 chapters. The Botanical Garden chapter has flowers that are mostly natural. When designing for the Inspired Garden chapter, I looked at lots of ethnic embroideries and other decorative arts. In International Garden, the flowers were suggested to me by their ties with various countries around the world, even though sometimes the ties were a little tenuous. And finally, in the Fun and Fantastic Garden chapter, you may find a flower that's silly. The flower cloth scarf from page 129 of Crochet Garden is turning out to be a great favorite of everyone who sees it in the book or in real life. And now the question I keep asking myself, what will grow from my crochet hook next season?
Find out more. To read more about Suzann's work, please visit her website at www.textilefusion.com. Suzann's books are available to check out at fine libraries or to buy at fine bookstores and on the web.